Hi students, welcome to Unacademy NEET English. I'm your biology educator Ambika Sharma. And in today's video, we are going to ensure our 16 marks in less than 20 minutes. Yes, bache, I'm again starting the series in which we will discuss the most important topics in 10 minutes or 20 minutes so that you guys can ensure your 360 out of 360 marks. So make sure you follow the regular series, right? Make sure you attend that lectures in detail, and for the quick revision, we have such videos on our channel. So let's start the discussion, okay? And before that, I would like to say, guys, as per your convenience, you can even increase the speed of the video as well as you can decrease the speed of the video. So 16 marks in 20 minutes. So what is our topic for today? Our topic for today is the regulation of kidney function. Yes, bache, it is one of the most important topics, and not just one question. More than one question can be asked in basically in one paper itself. Okay, so we are going to relate this topic with the hormones as well, with the pituitary, right? So we will cover all the possible questions from this particular topic. So what is the topic? Regulation of kidney function. So when we talk about the kidneys, we know that they are very important organs. Why? Because they are going to maintain the salt and water balance in our body. They are very important for the osmoregulation. Okay, we know it very well. Now when we talk about the kidneys, we know that in the kidneys we have the nephrons. And what are these nephrons? Nephrons are the basic unit here, isn't it? They are the basic unit here. They are the basic structural and functional unit here, okay, in the case of kidneys. So I believe even the diagram is clear to all of you, right? So there will be a cup-shaped woman's capsule. Then there will be these tubules. Firstly, PCT, that is your proximal convoluted tubule, and then there is this U-shaped loop of Henle, and then here we have what? This is the DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and then this one is what? This one is going to be the collecting duct. So students, if you're thinking I'm moving very fast, you can slow down the speed, as this video is for the quick revision. So this is what we have. We call it as nephron. So what is that cup-shaped area? This is the woman's capsule. Now we know that these nephrons, they are going to get the blood supply. So kindly pay attention here, right? So of course to the kidney, your renal artery will carry the oxygenated blood to the kidneys, right? And further this artery will break, right, so that it can give oxygenated blood to each and every nephron present there. So in each kidney, remember this, I think I'm covering all the possible questions from this particular topic. Each kidney is having 1 million nephron, right? 1 million nephron in each kidney. So basically arterioles, right, they are going to supply the blood here. Right, students, they are going to supply the blood here. So I will highlight this portion here mainly, so you people can see this one. It is A, the word is A. I'm going to use it. Please pay attention here. It is afferent arteriole. What's that, guys? It is afferent arteriole, afferent. And the one which is leaving this woman's capsule, it is the efferent, E for exit. That's how you can remember, E for exit. So this one is the efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole, and this cup shaped is what? This tuft of capillaries, right? It is your glomerulus. It is your glomerulus. So further, this efferent arteriole, it is going to form that peritubular capillary network. When these blood capillaries, when they are surrounding this loop of Henle, we call it as vasa recta. These are the general things related to this nephron. Now come back to the topic. Now when we talk about the filtration of blood here in the kidney, we talk about the glomerular filtration rate, right? Actually, the blood will come here. Here, it will get filtered. That is the first step of the urine formation, ultrafiltration. We will get the filtrate here in the lumen of woman's capsule. For the reabsorption and secretion as per the body demand will be there. This is the first point. Sometimes what happens, this GFR here, right? What is this? What is the word? The word is GFR. What is the word, my dear students? It is GFR. GFR means glomerular filtration rate. What's that? It is glomerular filtration rate, right? And normally in a healthy adult, it is 125 milliliter per minute. Means in 1 minute, our kidneys, they are going to filter out 125 ml of the blood, right? So this is in 1 minute, and overall it is going to be, yes, I believe you know that also. We'll discuss that also. So basically here, what is going to happen? The blood will get filtered. Okay. And this thing depends upon the blood pressure. This thing depends upon the body's fluid volume, blood volume. Okay. So if there is any disturbance in this thing, Okay, if let's say glomerular filtration rate is low, okay, in that case kidneys, okay, they have to activate their mechanism so that they can balance it out, and that is actually we are going to discuss here. Okay, so regulation of kidney function, when we talk about the regulation of kidney function, we are going to talk about this, that is your JGA, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus. What are we going to discuss? Juxtaglomerular apparatus. Now here in this particular apparatus, we have juxtaglomerular cells, also known as granular cells, and we have macula densa. Now ma'am, what is it? Guys, that's why I explained you the structure of the nephron. If you look at this particular diagram, can you see that? Can you see the arrangement? This is your Women's capsule, your proximal convoluted tubule, this loop of Henle, this one is the descending limb of loop of Henle, ascending limb of loop of Henle, and here you have the DCT, that is distal convoluted tubule, right? That is distal convoluted tubule. So in the kidneys, the arrangement is in such a way. In our kidney, because see, in each kidney 1 million nephrons are there, so the arrangement is in such a way, my dear students, you can see it here. So the arrangement here is in such a way that this DCT, distal convoluted tubule, is coming in contact with the afferent arteriole here. So if I how can I show you this? See, this is your Women's capsule. Okay, I told you this one, the one which is coming here, the one is leaving. Okay, it's like this, it's like this. So this one is the afferent arteriole, this one is the afferent arteriole, and the one which is leaving, it is the efferent arteriole. So here you guys can also see the difference in the diameter. It is wider one. This is important. It is wider one, and this one is narrower. So it is coming in contact with the, especially this afferent arteriole, it is coming in contact with the DCT. It is coming in contact with the DCT, distal convoluted tubule. I'm showing you a section here. You people can see this particular diagram. The arrangement of nephron is in such a way that DCT is coming in contact with this afferent arteriole. This DCT is coming in contact with this afferent arteriole. Look at the diagram here. So at the point of their contact, there some cellular modification is there. The cells here will get modified. Now what you people need to remember, that here in this afferent arteriole here, right, you will see that there are some granular cells. What you people are going to see? We are going to see some granular cells, and that granular cells are known as JG cells, that is your juxtaglomerular cells. Which cells are they? Please pay attention here. Which cells are they? They are the juxtaglomerular cells. Okay, so basically what is the point here? These are the arterioles. They are coming in contact with the DCT. So the smooth cells, smooth muscle cells here you will see, right, the granular cells, also known as juxtaglomerular cells, and the cells of DCT, of this distal convoluted tubule, here also these cells will get modified, and we will call them as macula densa. So this is the first thing that you need to understand if you want to understand this particular topic. So here you guys can see this. Okay, this is the better diagram here. This is the better diagram here. So if you just look at this diagram, okay, afferent arteriole here, then efferent arteriole here. So this DCT is coming in contact, okay, and here some cells are getting modified. We are calling it as macula densa cells, and here in the here basically in this arteriole, right, in the smooth muscle cells, you will see these modified cells. We call them as what? We call them as juxtaglomerular cells. In the wall of both the arteriole, the smooth muscle cells, actually students, the smooth muscle cells, wherever they are coming in contact with DCT, they are becoming swollen, so we are calling them as granular cells. So I believe this part is clear to you. Now these granular cells, why do we say that these cells are granular cells? Because they have something known as renin, right? This hormone known as renin. It is single N, R-E-N-I-N, right? These granules of renin are present there, R-E-N-I-N. Students, R-E-N-N-I-N, it is an enzyme. It is an activated enzyme which is present in the gastric secretion. Okay, it is present in the gastric secretion, especially in the infants. You might know that is prorenin. So here, it is double N. Here it is single N, renin. Like in kidney already one N is there. So that's why renin is having single N. So juxtaglomerular cells, they release the renin. When will they release the renin? When GFR is low. Right? Firstly, focus on this point. So when glomerular filtration rate, when it is less, the juxtaglomerular cell, they are going to release this hormone known as renin. So one better diagram for all of you for the color diagram. So here you can see macula densa of distal tubule. Here in the walls, here the smooth muscle cells, they'll modify, they'll form these juxtaglomerular cell. I hope this part is clear to you all. Okay, so in the NCERT, of course, this topic is given here, right? Here it is mentioned clearly. So I told you the amount of filtrate formed by kidneys per minute is the glomerular filtration rate. Okay, the blood which will be filtered by kidney in 1 minute. Okay, so that is basically the GFR. So amount of filtrate formed or blood that is filtered. So basically amount of filtrate formed will be more appropriate. So this is what you guys can say. The amount of filtrate formed by the kidney per minute is the glomerular filtration rate. Okay, students, it is going to be the glomerular filtration rate. So as I said, 125 ml per minute and 180 liter per day. Right, so it is going to be 180 liter per day. That's what we have to remember. So here in the kidney, here in the NCERT, about this JGA is given that whenever there is a fall in the glomerular filtration rate, JG cells will release renin, which will stimulate the glomerular blood flow and the glomerular filtration rate will be back. So to understand this, what we have to understand the RAS mechanism. So RAS mechanism, a very important and a repeated topic, bache. If you will solve previous year question, you are going to get it. So this is what we need to understand now, right? So before that, we should know what is the juxtaglomerular apparatus. So RAS, R stands for renin. Now you know who's going to release the renin. A stands for angiotensin, or you can say that angiotensinogen. I'll explain it. And then comes the aldosterone. Okay, then comes the aldosterone. So renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system or mechanism it is. So JG cells, juxtaglomerular cells are going to release renin. It's clear. This angiotensinogen, it is gen. Focus on this gen. Students, it is an inactive protein. Right? What's that? It is an inactive protein present in blood plasma. Of course, it is an inactive protein present in blood plasma, of course. And let me tell you, this protein is synthesized by liver. That is also a previous year question. So angiotensinogen 2, angiotensinogen, it is an inactive protein present in the blood plasma and is synthesized by the liver. Okay, so you should know about it. And then aldosterone. So what is this aldosterone? So you know that kidneys, the cap of kidney, it is the adrenal gland. What's that? It is adrenal gland. Ad means adjacent. Renal means kidney, adjacent to kidney. Cap of kidney. So when we talk about this adrenal gland, it is having outer cortex and inner medulla. Okay, so I'm not going to discuss it in depth, but all I want to say is that the adrenal cortex, a layer of adrenal cortex, it is having 3 layers. It is having 3 layers. Out of that, 1 layer is going to release aldosterone. Again, a steroidal hormone. Is that clear? It's a hormone. So now you know the sources here. So when will this RAS mechanism, it will be activated when there is low GFR, the filtration rate of kidney is less. And why is it less? Because blood pressure is less, because body fluid volume is less. Okay, that is why it is like this. Now what's going to happen? See, whenever there is a fall in glomerular blood flow, if blood flow is less, blood pressure will be less, so obviously GFR will be less. So your juxtaglomerular cells, they will release this renin, right? They will release this renin. Now this renin will act on this inactive angiotensinogen. I'm repeating it again. It's a blood plasma protein synthesized by liver. So when renin, when it acts on this angiotensinogen, it converts it into an active form, that is your angiotensin 1. That is your angiotensin 1. So now when this angiotensin 1 forms, this angiotensin 1 is a very powerful vasoconstrictor. What is the meaning of a vasoconstrictor? It constricts the blood vessel. It constricts the blood vessel. So if it will constrict the blood vessel, it will increase the blood flow, the blood pressure, and obviously GFR. Then It also helps in the reabsorption of sodium and water from proximal convoluted tubule. You might have, if you know, the doctors, whosoever is having high blood pressure, doctors tell them that they should take less sodium in their diet. Why? Because if there will be more sodium, that will elevate the blood pressure. So reabsorption of sodium and water from proximal convoluted tubule will be there. So this is the angiotensin 1. So angiotensinogen will be converted to the active form by your renin. Now angiotensin 1 will be converted to angiotensin 2. How? With the help of ACE. So madam, what is this ACE? It is angiotensin converting enzyme. It is angiotensin converting enzyme, and this particular enzyme is formed by the epithelium of lungs. So your lungs are going to make this enzyme and it will convert angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. So once this angiotensin 2 forms, it will act on the adrenal cortex. You know what is adrenal cortex now, and that in return will release the mineralocorticoid aldosterone. Okay, now this aldosterone, right, it will increase again the sodium and water absorption from the distal part. So angiotensin 1 from the proximal part of the nephron, this is from the distal part, which will result in increase in blood pressure and GFR. So this is how kidneys, they maintain their glomerular filtration rate. So it is 125 ml per minute. It is the amount of filtrate formed by kidneys per minute. Okay, so this is all about the RAS mechanism, one of the most important topics. We will discuss one more topic here. So to keep a check on this RAS mechanism, right, our heart releases atrial natriuretic factor. So obviously in our body, we know that homeostasis is there. We know that everything works in a coordinated manner. So obviously when blood pressure is low, the RAS mechanism will get activated. Once it is becoming higher, then heart obviously heart is going to receive the blood. Heart will be like, array, pressure is more. So in that case, heart is going to release ANF, atrial natriuretic factor, and this is a vasodilator. It will dilate the blood vessels, which will in return decrease the blood pressure. Okay, so it acts like this hormone acts like a check on RAS mechanism. It acts like a check on RAS mechanism. That's what we need to keep in our mind. So this is all about this part. Now, one more thing is there. We'll talk about the another hormone, that is your vasopressin. Okay, that is your vasopressin. Students, we know that there is hypothalamus, right? Hypothalamus. It is the part of forebrain. So it is also known as supramaster gland. It is also known as supramaster gland. So this gland, right, why do we call it as a supramaster gland? Well, obviously it instructs our master gland, that is pituitary. So hypothalamus forms two type of hormone, releasing hormone, right, releasing type of hormone, RH it is, okay, releasing type of hormone and inhibitory type of hormone. So hypothalamus instruct pituitary to release the hormone or to inhibit. Now when we talk about the pituitary, it is having adenohypophysis. Pituitary is also known as hypophysis. It is the neurohypophysis. This is the anterior part, this is the posterior part. Actually anterior and the middle part is not so differentiated. It is kind of same. So that's why pars distalis, which is your anterior lobe of pituitary, pars intermedia, which is middle or intermediate lobe of pituitary, they comes under adenohypophysis. But in the case of kidney, neurohypophysis, which is your posterior lobe of pituitary, this is important for us. Pars nervosa means posterior lobe of pituitary. Students, your hypothalamus and this posterior lobe of pituitary, they are under direct neural regulation. Okay, if you want to understand it, do let me know about it, right? If you want me to teach you the pituitary next, do let me know in the comment section. I'll wait for that. So right, for whichever topic you want me to explain in such a crispy way, do let me know in the comment section. I'll make video on that. Okay, so this series will go as per your interest. So if in comment section I will get comments ki ma'am please explain it in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, then only I'll carry it forward. Okay, so hypothalamus, right, and this posterior lobe is under the direct neural regulation of hypothalamus. Basically hypothalamus forms the hormone. That hormone through this basically from hypothalamus, that hormones will pass to the posterior lobe of pituitary, and posterior lobe of pituitary is going to store it, and when required posterior lobe of pituitary will release it, because you know that hypothalamus, it is having the neurosecretory cells that will form that hormone and that will give it to the posterior lobe of pituitary. So your posterior lobe of pituitary releases two hormones. One is oxytocin and another is ADH, antidiuretic hormone, and vasopressin. So for kidney, we need to understand the role of this ADH and this vasopressin. ADH also known as vasopressin. Understood? So ADH means antidiuretic hormone. What is it? It is antidiuretic hormone. So first of all, we need to understand what diuresis is. So diuresis means, students, excess of urination. What is the meaning of that? It is excess of urination. Understood? Diuresis. So if we want to prevent that diuresis, we have this antidiuretic hormone. So if ADH is present in our body, students, it will not let us to pass the excess of urine, right? This is the ADH, also known as vasopressin. So students, whenever in our body fluid volume or blood fluid volume, whenever it is less, right, there are certain osmoreceptors which are present in hypothalamus. Right, osmoreceptors. These are the receptors which will sense the change in the osmotic concentration of our body fluids. Okay, so when there is a low body fluid volume, these osmoreceptors in the hypothalamus, they will get activated and they will tell hypothalamus, you have to do something. Okay, and then that hypothalamus, obviously it will tell that posterior lobe of pituitary that please take care of it. I have given you the hormones, release it. So posterior lobe of pituitary will release antidiuretic hormone, which will absorb more and more and more water in our body, and basically what will be done, water conservation will be there and we get the concentrated urine, water wastage will not be there, right? This is how the kidney function will be regulated, and all the things are from the NCERT. So this is all about the regulation of kidney function. So I have added these charts here also, so you guys can see this, right? So your angiotensin 2 is a vasoconstrictor. Angiotensin, so basically story starting from this part. Okay, right, so basically what is happening, kidneys, when there is low blood pressure, okay, so low GFR, so kidneys will release renin, that will convert your angiotensinogen. So angiotensinogen is synthesized by liver, present in the blood plasma. It will be converted to the activated form by this renin, angiotensin 1, and ACE, angiotensin converting enzyme, will convert it into angiotensin 2, right? So angiotensin 1 is also a vasoconstrictor. It will act on the proximal part, and this angiotensin 2 is also a vasoconstrictor. It will also constrict blood vessel. Moreover, right, it also increases the thirst, the salt appetite. We know how, because it will act on the distal part of the nephron, okay, and it will increase that sodium absorption. So this is all about this RAS mechanism that we have discussed in detail. So everything is given here in NCERT. So here you guys can see the role of ADH also, that osmoreceptors in the body, they'll be activated when there is change in blood volume, body fluid volume, and an ionic concentration. So that receptors will stimulate hypothalamus to release ADH or vasopressin from neurohypophysis, that is your pars nervosa, that is your posterior lobe of pituitary. So water reabsorption from the distal part of tubule will be there, and excess of urination will be prevented. So there will be increase in body fluid volume, which will switch off osmoreceptor and will suppress the ADH. So I'll give you one example here also, so that you don't get confused ever, and that example is, students, whenever any person, whosoever takes alcohol, they go for the urination again and again they urinate. Why? Because already in their body excess of fluid is there. In that case, ADH will not be there in our body, ADH secretions will not be there, and that's why excess of urination is there. Whenever we take any beverage, again we go for the urination again and again. Why? Because already body fluid volume is maintained and ADH is not released, that is why. So this is all about the regulation of kidney function. Even we discuss the afferent arteriole, even that juxtaglomerular apparatus. So we have covered the most important topic from this particular chapter. So you have to tell me which video you want me to make next, and I will accordingly make the videos, right? So you name the topic, I'll make the videos, right? So I'm right now a Ginny for you, okay? And this Ginny has something very important for all of you, and that is, see, the offer is going to end tonight, and this is the wonderful offer to be the part of my batch, that is your Phoenix Pro batch, just at ₹4,999. So in the description box there is a link, click on that link, right? And you can join the Plus subscription for 10 months for just at rupees 4,999. If you want the books along with that, you can go for Iconic subscription, and that is for 15,000 rupees, students. And if you are targeting NEET 2026, you guys can go for our Nimbus batch, and that too in this particular price. Okay, so this offer is going to end tonight, and then the courses are going to be very expensive. So here you guys can see the amazing team that is going to teach you, that is going to guide you. So I'll be teaching you the complete biology, and trust me, you're going to love the classes. There will be question practice, DPP, everything will be there which is required to crack your NEET examination. So just at rupees 4,999 you can be the part of this batch. So the link is there in the description box. So this Phoenix Pro Reloaded will start from 1st of September, which is Sunday. Then obviously your classes will be from 2nd of September. So without delay, be the part of that. So thank you so much. Do let me know which video you want me to make next. Thank you so much, everyone.